Disappearance Day. And of course it was Bhaktivinode Thakur who says he reasons ill, who thinks that Vaishnavas die when they live on in sound vibration. So we're going to hear a little bit about Bhaktivinode Thakur today. And specifically we have some wonderful devotees here who are going to lead us in some Bhaktivinode Thakur bhajans, which Srila Prabhupada explained both Bhaktivinode Thakur and Narottam Das Thakur's bhajans were actually non-different from Vedic texts, because they are the summum bonum, in one sense, of the realization of the Vedic text. So we're going to first sing Kirtan, what is it? Durlava Manava Jana. So like that, so everyone at home can join in, and everyone here can also play along. Hare Krishna. read the translation so we all understand what we just read.
It's okay.
Can you say it?
No, we can hear.
You can hear. Okay.
I cannot see.
You can hear it from there? We'll pass the microphone. The human form of life is the rarest opportunity for attaining spiritual perfection. But now I am lamenting because I've somehow or other been born with such an opportunity, and I wasted it by never worshiping Lord Krishna. Oh, to whom shall I tell the tale of this misery?
Okay, I have it on the phone.
Having married and entered into the entanglements of materialistic family life, I passed my time in vain. I never got any tangible gain or permanent benefit, only trouble and botheration.
3. If you can't read them.
What kind of world is this anyway? It seems to be just like a magic lantern show that I saw at a carnival, wherein so many shadows and optical illusions dance magically before my eyes. I feel great attachment and identification with such a world, and this day after day pass by fruitlessly, without any purpose whatsoever.
You got the mic, Sadhu?
Yep, of course. When this body drops dead on the ground, then what will remain mine? At that moment, all of my sons and dearest loved ones will not be able to give me any happiness.
I work hard just like an ass every day. Now I'm wondering, for whom am I working so hard? I'm still surrounded by so many illusions.
I waste every day in useless, insignificant work, and I waste every night controlled by sleep. And in every 24 hours, I never for 1 second consider that cruel death is sitting very close by my side.
Do you want to read, Patrick?
I live a very carefree lifestyle, sometimes eating a lot, reading a little if I feel like it. Sometimes I see nice things around the town, or sometimes I do not go out at all. Sometimes I wear opulent clothing, or if I'm in the mood, I wear something simple. I live so carefree that I never considered that one day I will have to give up this body.
My poor heart is plagued by constant anxieties about the maintenance and daily turmoil created by my body, my house, my wife, her husband, my family members, and my social obligations. All these anxieties are pinching me and destroying all my intelligence.
Alas, alas, what a remorseful situation has arisen. I am absorbed in all this trouble, but I never consider that all these things are temporary and subject to perish very soon. After I'm dead and gone, where will all my material opulences remain?
When my body will be thrown in the pit at the cremation grounds, it will simply lie there motionlessly. Then many crows, vultures, ants, and worms will come and playfully sport there.
All the stray dogs and jackals will then become very much delighted, and in great ecstasy, they will make a festival ground out of my body and have a huge celebration and feast.
You can have picked a more upbeat song.
Just see, this is the ultimate destination of this material body. And the most amazing thing is that all of my material opulences, house, family, and friends have exactly the same destination.
Therefore, I ask of anyone who has any sharp intelligence, please give up Please give up all these temporary illusions presented by Maya and kindly search after the means to get pure devotion to Lord Krishna. For this is the only really tangible eternal truth. Jai Bhaktivinode Thakur ki
Jai. Can you sing Gopi now?
It's a similar mood.
It's what?
Similar mood.
Yeah, most of them.
So many Gopi knots.
It's only part one.
Huh?
Part one. Take the part
Which one is it?
one. Mama Nina Devasana.
Samsara
Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur.
So, translation again.
O Gopinath, Lord of the Gopis, please hear my request. I am a wicked materialist, always addicted to worldly desires, and no good qualities do I possess.
O Gopinath, you are my only hope, and therefore I have taken shelter at your lotus feet. I am now your eternal servant.
O Gopinath, how will you purify me? I do not know what devotion is. My materialistic mind is absorbed in fruited work. I have fallen into this dark, materialist worldly existence.
Oh Gopinath, everything here is your illusory energy. I have no strength but transcendental knowledge, and this body of mine is not independent and free from the control of material nature. O Gopinath, this sinner who's weeping and weeping begs for an eternal place at your divine feet, please give him your mercy.
O Gopinath, you are able to do anything, and therefore you have the power to deliver all sinners. Who is there that is more of a sinner than myself?
Yes, sure, you can.
O Gopinath, you are the ocean of mercy. Having come into this phenomenal world, you expand your divine pastimes for the sake of the fallen souls. O Gopinath, I am so sinful that although all the demons attained your lotus feet, Bhaktivinode has remained in worldly existence.
Okay, very nice. So, you want to sing another bhajan or have a little some guitar? What would you prefer? I'm asking the assembly of Vaishnavas.
If there's a bhajan, will we look at that?
No, it would just be shorter guitar.
I think
I will get that.
Guitar? You go guitar, okay. All right, so we'll do some guitar.
Actually, we can do a Bhaktivinode Thakur, do a Jai Radhamani, right? So we can do Jai Radhamani.
Yeah.
So we sing Jai Radhamani. Also by Bhaktivinode Thakur. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Bhaktivinode Thakur's to Ki Jai. Okay, so just have a few slides to go through. Here just mostly about the life of Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur, and I thought we could also pass the mic around and each of us read different passages that are written, and if we have some reflection or something we'd like to share, because everyone here also has some realizations of this exalted personality who is Bhaktivinode Thakur. We were hearing a little bit earlier, and we'll discuss it also in this, that Bhaktivinode Thakur, in one sense you could say, is our, for most of us, I think, unless some of us are initiated by Kadamba Maharaj or someone like that, he's our great-great-grandfather, spiritual master, so like that. So an exalted person, and often spoken about as the seventh Goswami, because it is immense contribution in the service of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So first we can chant the Mangalarana prayers. Om Gyanati Mirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Nati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakamnitamscha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Takta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur ki jai. Okay, so I'll start. Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur was appeared first in this world in 1838 and departed from this world in 1914. He is a prominent preceptor, acharya in our succession of spiritual masters and disciples coming from Lord Krishna. He was a pioneering spiritual leader, a householder, a magistrate working in colonial India under the British rule, and a prolific preacher, writer, and poet. So, when I hear this and when I think of Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur, I guess the first thing that stands out to me is that he was such an exemplary grihasta. He was such an exemplary householder in the sense, and we'll hear more later, but he held such a prominent post, such a prominent position, working inside of the British Raj. And as a Vaishnava, just to be a householder and hold a prominent position and still be a devotee is amazing. Just that in and of itself is enough for him to be glorified. But not only was he both of those things, but he was such an exalted Vaishnava that he was perpetually writing. He wrote so many volumes of books, he wrote so many bhajans and different poems, and he was just a prolific writer, and not only that, he was also an amazing preacher. So he was also preaching and spreading the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all while doing these other things. And at the same time, he was an incredible manager and organizer. So it wasn't just like he was preaching to a few souls who would come to his house every now and again, but he was manifesting the whole Namahata program and establishing groups across Bengal, West Bengal, and doing all of this while having children, a wife, a very prominent position and job, writing. He was just doing all of these things at the same time. So for me, when I think of Bhaktivinode Thakur and I read this, I think that he's such an exemplary devotee, but for those of us who are in the Grihastha ashram, he's a role model. And I remember when my wife and I got married, we had a conversation with a spiritual master, and he specifically mentioned Bhaktivinode Thakur, as he said, there are many who have gone before you into the Grihastha ashram, and from this ashram you can also do so much. So you should follow in the footsteps of these other great personalities, Advaita Acharya, Bhaktivinode Thakur, and he mentioned one other, I can't remember who mentioned who. So like that, when I think of Bhaktivinode Thakur and read this, I just take shelter of him as a personality who was really a devotee of great substance. Someone else would like to?
Yeah, 10 children.
Oh.
Sorry?
10 children.
Yeah, that's coming up.
But it's coming up.
That's the button on the bottom, the red button.
Appearing in 1838, Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur was named Kedarnath Datta by his parents. Was born in opulent circumstances in Biranagar, Ulagram, in the district of Nadia, West Bengal. He was the seventh son of Raja Krishnananda Datta, a great devotee of Lord Nityananda. He would be known as Daitya Kulera Prahlad, Prahlad in the family of non-devotees, because Vaishnavism, the worship of Vishnu or Krishna, was not very much respected in his family.
Any thoughts or reflection on that? Okay, anyone else? Any thoughts?
I have a question.
Please, yes. So pass the mic to the question.
Okay.
Hari Sadhu. Sorry.
It's not clear to me, so he was born into the family of a follower of
Where am I?
He was born into a family of a devotee of Lord Nityananda, but how come in that family Vaishnavism was not respected?
Yeah, it's an interesting point, and to be honest, I'm not 100% sure of the answer to that, but my understanding is that, of course, in West Bengal, predominant worship that was, and still is, also very prominent there is worship of Kali, or Durga Devi. So most people are following and worshiping Durga as the prime, I guess, entity. Often, I guess, Hinduism is considered polytheistic, but actually anyone in Hinduism, they usually have one specific deity that they focus on. So it's also monotheistic, because generally someone will worship Shiva, or Ram, or Krishna, or Vishnu, or Narayan, or Durga, like that. They still have one prime entity that they focus on. So my understanding from this is that, although he was a follower of Lord Nityananda, but still they must have, their prime deity at home must have been Durga Devi. That's my understanding. I don't know if anyone else has any recollections.
So in India, even if someone is a devotee of Lord Chaitanya, they will be probably worshipping Kali, or they will be worshipping Lord Shiva also. But they are specifically attached to Lord Chaitanya, or just like Lord Nityananda. So it's a very common thing there. So the family traditions are extremely strong. Worshippers of Durga, Kali, Amba, Lord Shiva. Then in between, they respect all other devotees also. In that sense, like attached to the family.
Yeah. I remember, like, there's a famous lecture that Tamal Krishna Maharaj gives in, I think it's in Fiji. Anyway, he's at someone's home, like a Hindu family home, and their altar has every single deity on it you can imagine. And then somewhere there's a comment that's made that in India, that's why they could easily absorb any, Christians came in, they're like, yeah, no problem, put Jesus on the altar. It's like, whoever else you want, just, because they have great respect for all the, all deities in that sense. But yeah, I think the main point there is that there's a family or cultural tradition, but at the same time, you can be a great devotee of Lord Nityananda, but maybe not necessarily following Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Exactly. Means, we like Lord Nityananda, but our family kind of tradition is follow Kali or Lord Shiva. All right, so read the next one. You got the mic, would you like to read Prabhu?
He wrote volumes of books reintroducing the pure teachings of Lord Chaitanya at a time when those teachings had practically become lost. He composed hundreds of devotional songs glorifying Krishna to uplift the consciousness of the suffering people of this world.
Any thoughts, reflections on just that?
So he wrote more than
Mike?
He wrote more than something around 300 to 350 songs. So the number of bhajans he wrote was much more than the philosophical books which he wrote. Bhaktivinoda Thakur was more known as a poet
Mm.
than as a philosopher
Mm.
in that area.
Nice. Yeah, and we could hear just by the, just reading the translations of those two songs, you know, it's like, we could say he's more of a poet than a philosopher, but the philosophical foundation of those poems, it wasn't like, oh Krishna, I love you, Krishna. You know, it's like my body's gonna wind up in a funeral pyre being eaten by jackals and worms, and like, you know, this is my life, I've suffered, I've wasted so much time. And it's actually, it's really interesting when you read the especially the writings of Bhaktivinode Thakur. It's very emotive, it's very emotional, and also very humbling, you know. And you think, God, was he really feeling like this? And I remember asking a senior devotee once, and they were describing that, yes, of course he really felt like that. He couldn't write. But at the same time, he's not in a fallen condition, but he's feeling himself in a fallen condition. So yeah, just like Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami considers himself lower than a worm in a stool, but that doesn't mean he actually is lower than a worm in a stool. It just means that's his consciousness and disposition of thinking himself in that space. So Bhaktivinode Thakur really a perfect example of someone who is extremely exalted, liberated soul, but for our benefit, he's exhibiting and expressing the moods of separation and misery of having lost the opportunity of the worship of Krishna. Next, we'd like to read.
He corresponded with philosophers, theologians, leaders, scholars, and professors of his time and sent books, including the life and precepts of Lord Chaitanya, to university libraries in foreign countries, planting the seeds for a worldwide movement of Krishna consciousness.
Any thoughts? Not for you. Did you have any thoughts?
I mean, I just thought of how we're doing that now too. I guess following in the footsteps. I didn't know that he did all these things, but I know that Prabhupada would do it, and I know that even to this day, like where I live at Krishna House in Florida, if you go in the basement of the library of the university there, there's the whole set of Srimad Bhagavatam. Like, how did it get there? You know, none of us know, but Prabhupada went there, so I'm guessing that it's because of Prabhupada, or at least the devotees that follow Prabhupada there. It's quite nice, like just random students could just go to the basement and like find the whole Srimad Bhagavatam set.
In the university library.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that if you could touch that button with the red button, is it on?
It is.
Oh, it is, okay, perfect.
I was thinking, I don't know if I remember it correctly, but my memory tells me that Srila Prabhupada, when he arrived in the United States, he found one of the books in the library.
Beautiful. Yeah, it comes up. It's mentioned in the slide. Actually, one of Prabhupada's disciples, I can't remember if it was Brahmananda or Bhavananda or someone like that, they found it in a university in Canada. They found this Life and Precepts of Lord Chaitanya, that book, they found it in a library. But the interesting thing is, anyway, we'll come to it later, it was the year that Bhaktivinode Thakur sent that book to the West was, anyone knows? 1896, which was also just happened to be the year that Srila Prabhupada appeared. So Bhaktivinode Thakur was, it's like one of those things they say, hindsight is 20/20. We have perfect vision when we look back sometimes and see, but when we're in the middle of it, it doesn't make sense. But Bhaktivinode Thakur was exactly planting seeds. He was already thinking, because it was Bhaktivinode Thakur who also predicted that the European and the American, I think he even said the Russian, they would all come and they would would chant and dance together, singing Jai Sachinandana, Jai Sachinandana, Jai Sachinandana Gaur in Bengal with the Bengalis. Like he envisioned that, he pictured that, he prophesied that. So Bhaktivinode Thakur prophesied this happening. I don't know what year he wrote that or prophesied it, but it was long before Srila Prabhupada, did anything. Maybe even was writing, maybe even long before he met Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, maybe even before Bhaktisiddhanta was really preaching himself. So it was many, many years before. And then I heard, I was with Indrajuna Maharaj once, and he was giving a talk, and he was sharing that he was there at the first Mayapur gathering of devotees, where they were having this kirtan, huge kirtan party, going to the Yoga Pit, to the appearance place of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And it was like Gaur Purnim, it was the first Mayapur Gaur Purnim festival, big gathering. And there was this group of Bengalis also going, and they all came together, and he said it was just magical. He said everyone, their hair was standing on end, and they immediately started going, Jai Sachinandana, Jai Sachinandana. And he said, and that was it. We all felt like we had just, become part of the manifestation of Bhaktivinode Thakur's prophecy. So like this, these great souls, he saw he visualized the TOVP, coming out of exactly where it is now. So these personalities are just like completely on a different level, and they're just putting their bits, in one sense. Bhaktivinode Thakur did so much, as we'll continue to read, but yeah, paving the way for the future generation. Is another one you'd like to read?
Bhaktivinode Thakur discovered and excavated the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya. Along with his devoted wife, Bhagavati Devi, he raised 10 children, including the illustrious Bhaktivinode Saraswati Thakur, who would become a great spiritual leader in his own time.
So I don't think there's any parents here. Anyone here is a parent? Apparently there are no parents. I mean, these days, we were recently with a Grihastha couple, and the mother was sharing with us, like, I don't know how people do it. I don't know how they have 2 kids. One is like more than I can handle. And then you have someone who has 2, and there's like, 2 kids, yeah, with 3. And then you see people, sometimes there are people with 3 or 4. I think my cousin, she has 7. She has 7 kids, which is completely, not a normal thing these days. What is it, 2.5 children? We just speak of having 10 kids. And, wife, 10 kids, full-time job, and doing all these other things. So, anyway, you wanted to share anything, maybe about Bhaktisiddhanta?
Well, that him discovering the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya, that's a big service to us.
Yeah. Anyone remembers that story? I think we discussed this last time on Jagannath Babaji's Disappearance Day, I think it was. Because I'm not really sure when he appeared. The devotees know when he disappeared. And Bhaktivinode Thakur took Jagannath Das Babaji in a basket. I forget how old he was, like 114 or even older than that. He was like some remarkably old age. And he couldn't really walk so well, so they carried him around in a basket. And they took him to the place that Bhaktivinode Thakur, he thought this is actually the place. Because there was another place that they were extolling as the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya. But Bhaktivinode Thakur had all these maps and everything, and he was like, no, it's over here. And he went there and he saw that there were loads of tulsi plants just growing wildly there in this place. And he's like, this is the place. And so he brought Jagannath Das Babaji, and when Jagannath Das Babaji came, he jumped out of the basket and started dancing around, singing this, chanting the names of Lord Chaitanya, saying, this is the place, this is the place. And then he established that as the yoga pit. Who here has been to the yoga pit? The birthplace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? You were in Mayapur, also heard it. Beautiful.
His name was Vimal Prasad. When Vimal Prasad was 6 months old, Lord Jagannath charged stopped in front of Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur's house in Puri for 3 days during the procession. Bhaktivinode asked his wife, Bhavati Devi, to bring the child to view and receive the blessings of Lord Jagannath. As she placed the child before the Lord, a garland from the Lord fell and encircled the baby boy. And the first grain ceremony was performed at that time with sacred food, prasad from Lord Jagannath.
Anything you'd like to share with us?
Well, I mean, I have a few experiences with Lord Jagannath, of course. Actually, this year I want to go to Jagannath Puri, and try doing quite a couple of things. And by pulling the chariot, we immediately get the mercy of Lord Jagannath. So just imagine receiving his blessings like the first days of your life. I mean, that is really sacred and full of mercy. So this is really inspiring for us, like to seek always for Lord Jagannath. In his form, we can certainly reach Krishna very, very easily. So it's so inspiring.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, and just think, Bhaktivinode Thakur, he wasn't, I mean, sometimes I've heard it referred to that he was a high court magistrate, and we don't always understand what that means, but it's like most places, and of course in the British system, there are several levels of courts, sometimes you have just like a district court or local court, or here they have like the federal court, and then they have the high court, and then they have, what is the highest court in America? Supreme Court, thank you. Then they have like the Supreme Court, it's like where things might start here and slowly, but he was like the high court magistrate, so he was the top judge in the highest court, and not just anywhere, but in Puri, in like the sacred place of Lord Jagannath. So he had such a high position, and such an important personality.
Actually, I was reading this morning, and it says that even with full government workload, his discipline day looked like this, like his schedule.
No, I got his schedule.
You got it over there?
Yeah.
Great. So.
He can't talk about Bhaktivinode Thakur and not share that. Mataji, you had a question? It's Ishwari
Saki.
Ishwari Saki.
Well, I just wanted to point that we cannot talk about Bhaktivinode Thakur without his biggest service is continuing the parampara, giving a guru to our guru, so it's in our comes to.
And also Bhaktivinode Thakur, not only as well as finding the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya, but actually he's considered the seventh Goswami because sort of after the Goswamis, then slowly the Gaudiya Vaishnavism fell into ill repute, and that it degraded into loads of different. And Prabhupada often quotes Bhaktivinode Thakur, and I always wanted to memorize about how. It says all the different. I think is it 12 Upasampradayas in Bhaktivinode Thakur lists out, and he explains all of they're all deviant sampradayas. So he came at a time and he just lifted and reestablished Gaudiya Vaishnavism. So very prominent for reestablishing our line of disciplic succession. Did we read that?
No.
Okay. Would you like to read?
And the spiritual master of ISKCON's founder Acharya, His Divine Grace Abhayacharya Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada.
Okay. Josh, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Right.
We'll give you a little more to read.
Above all, Bhaktivinode Thakur taught devotion to Krishna by his personal example. His life story demonstrates a tremendous amount of courage, character, and perseverance in the face of many difficulties, and gives hope to those of us who may be wondering just how to find the time to serve Lord Sri Krishna, His holy names, and His devotees in our ever so busy lives.
Any thoughts, any reflections from you?
I would have two thoughts. Like the first one is that the life of a devotee is complex. I think if we've known devotees for a long time, like a decade or 2 decades, 3 decades, we can see that sometimes it's not just a linear progressive path, and we can just stray away and get lost and come back. So, but we have to be resilient in that and continue our progress. And it's true that we rarely find the time for service. I know it's often quite difficult because there's always something more urgent to do, but I think just finding that sadhana to just, and then when we really desire that, we find the time.
Beautiful, thank you for that, both those points, yeah, but the devotional path is not always so linear. Sometimes it can go off a little bit and come back, and yeah, that it's very difficult to make the time. We often say, I need to find time, but actually all there is time. Yeah, we need to make the time. So that's beautiful, thank you. I'll just skip to his daily schedule because we're running out of time.
So this,
God, this is so small. I wanted to make this bigger earlier than I did. So Bhaktivinode Thakur would take rest around 7:30 or 8 o'clock at night. Then at 10 he would get up, light an oil lamp, and start writing. So after sleeping for about 2.5 hours, then he would stay up from 10 until 4 a.m. And then at 4 he would take rest, and he would rise at 4:30 and wash his hands, face, chant Hare Krishna mantra on japa until 7. Then he would write letters. 7:30 he would read. 8:30 he would receive guests and continue to read until about 9:30 or 9:45. Then he would take rest again. And yeah, for like 15, it seems like he was taking like a little bit of a nap. And then he would have morning bath, breakfast of half a quart of milk, a couple of chapatis and some fruits. 9:55 he would go to court in a carriage. Court began at 10. At 1 o'clock, court would finish. He'd come home and bathe and refresh himself. At 2 o'clock, he'd go back to the office, back to the courthouse. At 5 o'clock, he would start translating works from Sanskrit to Bengali. Hare Krishna. Welcome. And then he would take his evening bath, meal of rice, couple of chapatis, half a quart or liter of milk. And that would be his sort of daily routine. So I guess when we talk about not having time, it's like, yeah, you gotta make time. Okay, and speaking of making time, we're now going to have Pushpanjali, and we'll have a little party for Bhaktivinode Thakur, so everyone can please stand. Thank you very much for your attention. We didn't get to all the slides, but we got to glorify Bhaktivinode Thakur some and hear some of his bhajans. So, Shri Bhaktivinode Thakur ki jai.
Hare Krishna, welcome. Please come in. So are you offering? Yeah, bring back. So we're just about to have Pushpanjali for Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur. So devotees can come more up to the front, this side. Govardhan, that's how I remember it.
So I guess we can go ahead and start. So we're going to do Pushpanjali for Bhaktivinode Thakur. So we're going to chant all the way through basically the standard prayers, Mangalacharana prayers, repeating. And then we'll go back to Bhaktivinode Thakur's mantras and repeat those 3 times. And at the end of those, each time we're going to say Isha Pushpanjali once, and then everyone can take a flower from here and take it up and offer it to Bhaktivinode Thakur. Those who haven't done it before, generally we offer with the right hand, and you don't need to throw it. You can actually just walk up and place it nicely at Bhaktivinode Thakur's lotus feet like that. So, everyone can try to repeat. Om Bhagavana Timinandasya Yaranjana Shalakaya Chakshu Amritangena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Vidati Swa Padantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Parakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Harijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitam Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve
Saraswati Deve
Gauravani
Gauravani
Pracharine
Pracharine
Nirvishesha
Nirvishesha
Shunyavadi
Shunyavadi
Paschatya
Paschatya
Deshatarine
Deshatarine
Namo
Namo
Vishnupadaya
Vishnupadaya
Krishna Prashtaya
Krishna Prashtaya
Bhutale
Bhutale
Srimate
Srimate
Bhaktisiddhanta
Bhaktisiddhanta
Saraswati
Saraswati
Iti Namine
Iti Namine
Shri Varshavanavi
Shivashamanavi
Devi
Devi
Dalitaya
Dalitaya
Kripabhadye
Kripabhadye
Krishna Sambandha
Krishna Sambandha
Vijnana
Dhyana
Daine
Daine
Abhave Namaha
Bhagave Namaha
Madhuryo Jwala
Madhuryoshvara
Premadya
Devadya
Shivrupanuga
Shirupanuga
Bhaktida
Bhaktida
Shri Gaura Karuna
Shri Gaura Karuna
Shakti
Shakti
Vigrahaya
Vigrahaya
Namostute
Namostute
Namaste
Namaste
Gauravani
Gauravani
Shri Murtaye
Murtaye
Dinatarine
Dinatarine
Rupanuga
Rupanuga
Virudapasaranta Dvanta Harine Namo Gaurakishoraya
Gaurakishoraya
Sakshat Vairagya
Sakshadaya
Murtaye
Murtaye
Vipralamba
Vipralamba
Vasambode
Sambode
Parambujaya
Paramujaya
Te Namaha
Te Namaha
Namo
Namo
Bhaktivinodaya
Bhaktivinodaya
Satchidananda
Satchidananda
Namine
Namine
Gaura Shakti
Gaura Shakti
Swarupaya
Swarupaya
Rupanuga
Rupanuga
Varayate
Varayate
Gaura Virbhava
Gauravirvava
Bhumestvam
Bhumestvam
Nirdeshta
Nirveshta
Sajjana Priyaha
Satjanapriyaha
Vaishnava
Vaishnava
Sarvabhauma
Sarvabhauma
Shri Jagannataya
Shri Jagannataya
Te Namaha
Te Namaha
Vanchakalpa
Vanchakalpa
Tarubhyascha
Tarubhyascha
Kripa Sindhu
Kripasindhu
Yevacha
Yevacha
Patitanam
Patitanam
Pavanebhyo
Pavanebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo
Namo Namaha
Namo Namaha
Namo Mahavaranyaya
Maharanyaya
Krishna Prema Pradayate
Krishna Prema Pradayate
Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya
Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya
Namane Gora Tvishe Namaha
Namine Gaurakrishne Namaha
Panchatattvamakam Krishna
Panchatattvam Krishna
Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam
Bhaktarupa Swarupakam
Bhakta Avataram
Bhaktavataram
Bhaktyakam
Bhaktavam
Namami
Namami
Bhakta Shaktikam
Bhaktashaktikam
He Krishna
He Krishna
Karuna Sindhu
Karuna Sindhu
Dinabandhu
Dinabandhu
Jagapate
Jagapate
Gopesha
Gopesha
Gopika Kanta
Gopika Kanta
Radha Kanta
Radha Kanta
Namostute
Namostute
Jayatam
Jayatam
Sutapango
Sutapango
Mamamanda
Mamamanda
Matirgati
Tirvati
Matsarvasya
Sarvasya
Paramboja
Paramboja
Radhamadana Mohana Divya Vrindaranya Kalpadrumudaha Srimad Ratnagaram Simhasanastam Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Deva Pristalavi Sevyamana Smarami Shriman Rasa Rasarambi Vamsivata Tatastita Varshanvenu Swaner Gopir Gopinata Shri Stunaha Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Bhaktivinodaya Satchidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Parayate Desha Pushpanjali. So we'll offer a flower to Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur and then we chant our mantras. Just one flower. Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur ki jai. Seems like we might need a few more flowers, but everyone can take, everyone has 3 now? Okay. All right, or 2 left, right? Okay. Namo Bhaktivinodaya Satchidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Parayate Desha Pushpanjali. Jai Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur ki jai. Namo Bhaktivinodaya Satchidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Parayate Desha Pushpanjali. Jai Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur ki jai.
Is it this or some sort of?
You can go. I mean,
I'll keep it here. Is it okay?
Here, put it on the cushion.
Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Sadma Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jai.
ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. BBT founder Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Nam Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Jai. Nam Sivaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasari Gaura Bhaktivinode ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shavaka Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki Jai. Mayapur Navadvip Dham ki Jai. Ganga Mai ki Jai. Muna Mai ki Jai. Tulsi Devi ki Jai. Bhakti Devi ki Jai. Shri Shivana Muralidhar ki Jai. Chakra Bhagavan ki Jai. Disappearance Day Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur ki Jai. Disappearance Day Shri Gadadhar Pandit ki Jai. Nitai Gopurnanandi. Glories to the assembled devotees. Glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the Lord of Shri Guru and Shri Guru. Glories to Shri Guru.
Bhaktivinode Thakur ki jai.
Hare Krishna. So thank you very much everyone for being here for this festival to celebrate the disappearance of Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur. Today is also the disappearance of Sri Gadadhar Pandit. And in this honor, we've been fasting half day, and now we're about to serve a feast in the back of the temple room. So welcome to all of our guests. Is anyone who's here for the very first time? Okay, nice to have you. We have our friends coming from Croatia. So nice to have you here with us. And also from Mexico, who's here with us. So very, very wonderful to have you all here for this little festival. So we'll be serving prasad in the back. After prasad, we're planning to go for a harinam, just a quick one in the heat, just to work up a little sweat, which will take about 0.2 seconds as soon as you walk out the front door. But we're serving prasad in the back, so everyone can go and take prasad. And all of our programs depend on the goodwill of everyone, so if you would like, you can make a donation back there in cash, or you can scan the code as you like, but there's no pressure to do that. Okay, thank you very much. Yes, sir.
Where is Harinam?
Where is the Harinam? Exactly. It will be out front of the building. We'll meet probably at about 1:45, something like that. So in about 45 minutes, and we'll go probably to 22nd Avenue and then Tompkins Square, or we might just go to Tompkins Square and back.
Because the road also from Brooklyn started
Yes.
3 to 7 o'clock.
That's at 3 o'clock, yeah, that's a different one.
Okay.
But they'll be there from 3 till 7, so. Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna, everyone. Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur ki jai.